Hello everybody and welcome to the February 2017 Gaming PC Builds of the Month, brought to you by noobcomputerbuild.com. If you want to learn more about these builds, please visit the article linked in the description below. As well, all the hardware for all three of these builds will also be linked in the description below. So the three builds that we're going to go through today are, the first one is the February 1440p to 4K build, which is meant for those playing in games in those settings, under $1,300 to $1,500, depending on the graphics card you choose. The middle one is a $1,000 build, meant for 1080p to 1440p gaming. And then the last one is the most affordable one, under $600, the 1080p build, which is probably the build that most entry-level gamers will probably be interested in getting. And now this month, let's get started. But this month I want to mention new this month is the Kaby Lake CPUs that were released within the last month. And so now we have included those in the build. What that means is that we can also use the new chipset motherboards that go along with that. So they have more features for the future as well. So keep that in mind. These are brand spanking new builds. Let's get started with the $1,300 to $1,500 gaming PC build of the month for February 2017. So starting off, a new Kaby Lake CPU, Intel 7600K, so still overclock, still well able to overclock, and it comes at the same price as the previous 6600K, and at $235. And we also still need a cooler, so we have the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, $3493. We need to include that for one, you want to overclock, and two, it doesn't include a stock cooler. We have a motherboard. This is a newer motherboard, Gigabyte GA Z270X Ultra Gaming. It's still the same socket, but we have a new chipset on this board, which is Z270, and this comes out to $164.99. And so for the graphics card, this is what really dictates the price of this build. You get to choose between these two, depending on what your budget is and what you want to play at. So the GTX 1080 would be better if you want to get more into the 4K gaming, or are going to get into kind of virtual reality type games, and that would set you back $594.89, or you go with the GTX 1070, which is $389.89. This is kind of hard to say, $389.89. Anyways, so that'd be best for 1440p, and it's still good for VR if you want to try that out as well. So up to you here, and also look up benchmarks of the games you want to play, guys. If you're very interested in whatever game it is, just go to YouTube and search for benchmarks X game using GTX 1070, for example, and you can see kind of what you can expect from whichever card you choose. So moving on, for RAM, we have a Kingston HyperX Fury 8 gigabyte 2 8 gigabyte stick kit, so that's a total of 16 gigabytes, and that's $65.26. Samsung 850 EVO 500 gigabyte SSD for $169.99, and then EVGA Supernova 750p2 platinum rated power supply, so it's highly efficient, $119.99. And then the case we've chosen this month is a newer Be Quiet BGW05 Silent Base 600 PC case for $109.84. And they do come in other colors. The one I have featured here is the orange trim. And so the price for these two builds, like I said, is dictated on which graphics card, the GTX 1070 or 1080 that you choose. And so either it'll be about $1,290 this month or $1,495. Now moving on, we have some extras included in this build. So if you do have more of a budget or want upgrade suggestions for the future, some of those would be, you can go with an i7 instead of the i5 that's included in the build. Still a new Kaby Lake CPU. This is the i7 7700K, $349.89. A huge graphics card bump, but for a huge cost. The NVIDIA Titan X, the best possible one single graphics card for 4K gaming, that would set you back a whole whopping $1,200. If you want a CPU cooler upgrade, here's a liquid cooler, Corsair Hydro Series H100 IV2, or a storage upgrade. This is a faster PCIe SSD, Samsung 950 Pro. It is the 512 gigabyte version, $369.99. And now moving on, I do include peripherals, but you can visit the site or kind of glance here at the ones that I suggest, but I won't be going into those in this video. Now, the mid-range build, the $1,000 build, the 1080p to 1440p gaming PC build. again, we have a new Kaby Lake CPU, Intel 7600K, $235. For a cooler, we have the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, $34.99, and then the Asus Prime Z270P motherboard to go along, the new chipset motherboard to go along with the new Kaby Lake CPU, $135. And then so now we again have a choice between graphics cards, and I leave it up to you. But these two cards are not better than another. They're kind of just, but they both perform pretty similarly. And so you can also benchmark games if you want to use a particular card for a particular game, and maybe it has a slight edge, but overall they're pretty much the same. So we have XFX Radeon RX 480, 8GB version, $229.99, or the PNY GeForce GTX 1060 6GB card for $246.68. And these prices kind of do match up sometimes, so they're usually about the same price. So RAM, we have an 8GB Kit Ballistic Sport LT, $59.88. SSD, Samsung 850 EVO, 250GB one, $98. These have gone down this month in price, by the way. Power supply, EVGA Supernova 650G1, $79.99, gold rated efficiency power supply. And then the case, we didn't switch it up this month, but I love this case. It's the NZXT S340 mid-tower case, $66.99, sleek, very sleek looking, that's why I like it. And this comes out to well under $1,000 at $940, and that is February 2017. Now for the extras, oops, I skipped over the extras for this build. Should you have more to spend, storage, you can bump up your SSD to a 500GB Samsung 850 EVO, $169.99. You can bump up to go all the way up to a GTX 1070 graphics card for a huge. That's probably the best performance upgrade. So $389.89. Power supply, you can go with a more efficient 650 watt power supply, EVGA Supernova P2 version, or a better cooler, Corsair Hydro Series H80i V2 liquid CPU cooler, $89.87. And now for the last build. Now this is probably the build that, you know, anyone wanting to get into PC building, or anyone that just wants to get up in gaming and just games at standard HD resolutions, which I'm guessing a bulk of PC gamers do. And this is the February 2017 $600 1080p build, so standard HD resolutions. Again, we have a new i3 CPU here, Intel 7100 i3, $119.99. With that, we have a new motherboard. This isn't the Z270 chipset motherboard because you can't really overclock this CPU, so we went with newer H270, so a Gigabyte G8 H270. HD3 that you see here, $99.99. For the graphics card, we have an RX 470, $169.85, 4GB version. RAM, Ballistic Sport LT 8GB kit, $59.88. SSD, SanDisk SSD Plus, 120GB, $44.99. And I know 120 gigs isn't a ton of space, but I would fully recommend getting an SSD. But if you want an upgrade in storage space, just look at the alternatives below, or either the SSDs in the other builds, and go with that if you have a little more to spend. Power supply, EVGA 500W1, $39.99. And then finally the computer case, the Corsair Carbide Series 270R, which is a newer as of late, 2016 I believe, for $67.15. And this comes out to a total of, on par, $600 for this month. And now finally for the upgrade, should you have more to spend. If you want a better CPU cooler, you could go with that. Not highly recommended, but you can go with that. It's the Cooler Master Hyper 212 EVO, $34.93. Graphics card upgrade, you can go with an RX 480, such as Asus one. 4GB version, $189.99 for not much more than the 470. For a CPU upgrade. So this is a locked i5. So it's the newer Kaby Lake Intel Core i5 7500 for $201.89. Or like I said, there's only 120GB SSD included in the build, so you can bump this up to a Samsung 850 EVO 250GB one for $98. And that does it for this month's 3 builds, gaming PC builds of the month. Like I said, all the hardware is linked in the description. Visit noobcomputerbuild.com. I post these builds every single month, as well as some other gaming PC articles, so do check that out. And also, just to kind of finish this off, we do, I kind of list everything that you need for the gaming PC build. Like, so in these lists, you have the full build that you need for the PC build, but you also need peripherals. So you need a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse if you don't have that. So do keep that in mind when budgeting. And also, you do need an operating system. So if you don't have one already, the standard go-to is Windows 10. This is a USB flash disk. You can also buy it and download it and install it on your own USB stick. But this one's about $109.98. Or you can experiment with free OSs, such as Ubuntu. You can just visit the site. It's a free download. You just need to install it similarly to Windows or the Steam OS, which has been in beta forever. So try that out if you want something to try something for free. So that's it for this month. Good luck building, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or visit the site.